Right, so in your energy today, okay, so your angels and ancestors and spirit team want you to know that you've got some energies in your energy field, and it says here that this is you. They'll never see your face again or your sweet nature, okay? I'm being brought here, which is acquaintances and friends, but we did have a father card come out. It doesn't have to be a father. It could be somebody who was a father, somebody in masculine energy, parental, boss, put it where it fits. And spirit wants you to know that you're shedding your people-pleasing self. I think you've still got a little bit to do, or it's somewhere in your system slightly. You have a strong personality and energy, and spirit wants you to be aware of this, because obviously that can rub people up the wrong way, especially if they're not on your frequency. I think these energies that you had, it feels like you've set boundaries with these energies, but they were in the 3D matrix. They're very, of that world. And you're actually exiting the 3D matrix if you haven't already. And they were childish, and maybe it took you a while to recognize their immaturity, because you'd actually been around people that were more immature, or it wasn't a consistent thing. I'm hearing envy. So they're sort of immature in their envy nature. They haven't worked that out. They don't have much control over it. And it could possibly be people that had addictions of some kind, but it doesn't have to be. And addictions can come in all forms. You could be addicted to watching tarot readings. You could be addicted to shopping. You can be addicted to food, or and other addictions, which they can be slightly lower vibrational than that. But whatever you're doing the right thing. And if you're doing a project or anything that's helping you, spirit wants you to know that God doesn't want you to give up. Okay, so if you feel like you're going through a tough, or not, but if you are going through a tough spot, just keep holding on is the feeling I'm getting. Yes, so I think these immature energies, and I'm being called to father as well, and maybe, but again, it doesn't have to be a father. So it's out here as a father. It could be somebody who is a father, like I said before. But you had energies that were withholding around you, and I feel like playing silence games. It's all power struggle, and I don't think you were playing any games. You were just trying to please the others more than yourself, which has changed now. We have got the angels out here, and divine was out from last reading, and I accidentally didn't put it away, but obviously nothing's an accident. Right, so this other romantic energy that's in your energy field, and you're almost there. Okay, so don't give up on whatever it is that you're doing. Maybe like, well, I'm not doing anything. Perhaps you're just focusing on your development, your peace. Stick to that. Right. So I have a feeling this romantic energy and these other energies I feel like they played silent games, like deliberately keep you on red, that kind of energy. So withholding, but they don't want to be withholding anymore. This person could well have issues with addiction, which I'm being told is actually coming from a lack of self-worth, which many addictions, do come from that. But now you've been returning this energy back to sender with the help of your angels, and you've set up these boundaries, and you're focusing on an inner peace, and cultivating your own paradise. This person, I think your ancestors are making them dream of you, because I didn't actually know that. I put that there and it leans like that. I didn't know that there was a sort of, so your ancestors are making this person dream of you, and what they're dreaming of is a wedding, and it comes out, I don't know, 80% of readings, doesn't matter what deck I use, so that they're dreaming of higher connection with you, and they don't want to be toxic anymore. And if their toxicity had anything to do with their lack of intimacy, like they're up for a good time but not a real time, something like that, they want to change this. I think they're very aware they cannot get back into your energy unless they grow up, and they're starting to recognize that behavior is is stemming from weakness. Perhaps it was part of their personality, you know, they used it as a form of identity, like a belief system. It made them feel stronger. They're reflecting and realizing that that isn't the case, especially now that you've stepped into your self-worth. And for those of you that have always known your self-worth, you've just set the environment up where you can cultivate, it reflects your self-worth. You've got boundaries up with people that play ego games and very of the 3D matrix and so forth, and, you know, like really derive their power or sense of self from it, which you may have been there too, but I don't believe you are for the most part. Queen of Cups is upside down. When I cut this deck, and I can see the 5 of cups and coins underneath, it's not the traditional meaning of this card, but I genuinely feel like you haven't got a cup of love for these people anymore. And it's not a case that you don't feel any love for them. It's just that love has gone into yourself because they kept you in this energy, which was an afterthought. I'm feeling not invited, left on red. They were playing power games with you because they can feel that you're tapped in. And whether it was conscious or not, you know, sometimes it's not, it's just an energy thing. But for some of you, it definitely was. And these are the people that are unlikely to see your face again, or be in contact with your sweet nature. Yeah, because I think you ultimately know, if you go back into these energies, even this one that looks like they want to turn a corner and make it right, this is where they left you, if not worse. I'm feeling 10 of Swords, you know, making your foundation very uncomfortable. And Spirit wants you to know that you're heading to prosperity. Okay, that's what that cut, when I cut that deck, that's what that card, that's the card that I cut that deck on. And it does come out often, as well as this wedding card. And that's what it looks like to you. Obviously it shows money on here, but it can be manifesting something that you want, opportunities, good friend, like good healthy spiritual friends that don't, you know, stroke their ego. You know, put it where it fits, whatever that looks like to you. Also, Spirit is reminding me to tell you not to overlook synchronicity. You know, say thank you when you notice it, a nod, or write it down, or you know, however you want to address it. It will help your peace. It will help your inner peace. Yeah, so these people wanted you to be at a disadvantage, miss opportunities, and I genuinely think they felt if they gave you this energy, it would get in the way. And for some part of you, it did. You know, they put you in this energy for a long time. You were in teamwork with this energy. Okay. It was this energy, but it's upside down now because you've recognized the moon's here. You've been illuminated to the fact that they wanted you in this disadvantage. 10 of Swords energy, and I did say 10 of Swords before I even looked at that deck. It doesn't really get much worse, and it's been illuminated to you that this is the kind of teamwork they were offering you, and you've moved on to calmer waters. Okay, you're not bound up into these energies anymore. They might ripple back, because, you know, it's a big karmic lesson, and it's not, things aren't so linear, but it's, for the most part, it's out of your energy field. But it does feel like it's on the periphery because they're pulling on your energy. Empress. Yeah, they just want these energies, and if they're immature, they haven't got much else to work with. It's a bit like if you've only got 5 crayons, they're the colours they have. Do you know what I mean? But you're looking for somebody with a rich tapestry, and they couldn't give you that. And maybe for a long time you believed they were capable, and they're simply not. And I saw 7 of Swords there. These energies were making you unhappy, so you've broken free from this. Do your best not to get into some sort of self-blame. Things are supposed to move around and shift, especially when you're tapping into the divine. You've got angels working with you. I'd be very surprised if your life just stays exactly as it was. you know, no shifts are made. Some of you, of course, it can be the case, but it's unlikely. It it gets rid of everything that was false, you know, like, and that's why the moon was out. It illuminates everything, so you can create the foundation that's necessary, and I believe that's where you are. Yeah, and you've got better foresight now. I'm also being brought to the foresight about your personality. You know, look, you are tapped into the divine. There are going to be some people, I mean, you know, not everyone likes everyone. Not everybody's everyone's cup of tea, and that's just the way it will always be. But I think maybe you were trying to ask people for you to be their cup of tea, and you weren't. And, you know, energetically, of course. And I think possibly the pennies dropped for you, that it's wasted energy to do this. But try not to get into self-blame. Like, if you're remembering how these people treated you, don't see it as a reflection of your worth. That's what they wanted, and that's what they possibly got from you for a long time, whether it was conscious or not. And that's changed now, because you're the Empress. You know, the Empress knows their worth. They're comfortable in themselves, and I think for the most part you were comfortable in yourself. It was just you had energies around you like, don't be comfortable, don't be comfortable, I'm not comfortable, how dare you be comfortable, energetically, of course. But maybe 10 of Pentacles and the Prosperity card. This is how these people saw you. They saw you as the Empress, and you know, prosperous. I don't care what you have, you know, in your bank or what things look like. It's energy. Okay. Yeah, and it's because you were this high priestess, you have this intuition, this strong personality. You're probably very gifted on the 3D, 5D, and they found that uncomfortable. They wanted to energetically make you unhappy, in some way, or just play these power games so it could stroke their ego. But I think the pennies dropped for you for that. You know why that was going on. 9 of Pentacles. Yeah, so you're much more self-sufficient and independent now. I think you always were. I think you just had a lot of like dead weight around you, and you were using it as a mirror or something. And I think maybe, I believe Spirit is the one who made you realize what was going on here. And it's not that you realized it, it's like the voice got louder. You were sort of muffling that voice down, like, no, you know, I love them, they love me, and yeah, they probably do. And you probably do too, but it doesn't mean that you're meant to be on each other's paths all the time if all they're going to provide is, you know, crap water, you know, to nourish your garden, you know, and it's actually killing your intuition, killing your dreams, and, you know, all of those things. I'll take one more, please, Spirit, from this deck. Okay, so this person is coming in with a message, or they want to make contact now that you found calmer waters, you found your Empress status. I feel like there was like loads of dust all over it, you know, like it was in a box, this energy that was living inside of you, and Spirit's like shone a big light on it. You've taken all the dust off, and all this other energy that was like, don't look at you, the energy you have, and you've seen it, you found it, and they had no choice but to move towards you. Whether you want it or not is another matter. It says not today but upside down. So maybe there's some of you that are in the energy of like no, but actually there is a part of you that would quite like to hear them out, or something like that. Gosh, that incense is going in my eyes. Perhaps these people will try to blind you, you know, make your vision difficult. Yeah, so this person doesn't want to be in this. If they were in a sort of seductive nature with you and others, and lack of true intimacy, and this was like part of their established identity, that they're aware that this has to be shed. A bit like you've realised your people pleasing needs to be shed of people that don't really mean you the best, whether it's intentional or not. This person's realising that they need to shed these lower energies that aren't actually making them happy anyway. You know, if it is, it's very short-lived. Yeah, they don't want to be hiding behind material things anymore. And again, that could be this sort of lustful nature, but it could be, you know, covering themselves with the 3D matrix to sort of bolster their ego, because it's actually bringing them conflict anyway. You not being around and knowing you're not coming back, a shift has been made, and they didn't have the foresight. They didn't understand that this was going to happen, and they're struggling because there was a time when you used to be away from this energy, even with their silences and leaving you on red and poking and prodding you, if not worse. They could feel you. They could feel you there energetically on your knees waiting. You're not. You're on that boat. They're on the shore. They can't feel you. They can't even see you energetically. Yeah, they don't want you to be elusive anymore. I can see bluff here. They thought you were bluffing. They know you're not bluffing. They know you're manifesting. They're worried about what you're manifesting. All of these people are going to be worried about what you're manifesting. Now they're not in your energy, because they know that they know their intentions for you weren't good. They possibly didn't want that to be the case. That's just the energy they're working with. And maybe you're worried about what you're, how your life is, what you're going to make for your life now. You're free to some extent. This person knows you're not looking for union with them. All these energies know you're not looking for union with them. Yeah, they want to call you. And it's changed the balance. Yeah, because they crossed the line with you. They crossed the line with you several times. They crossed the line so much you couldn't even really see the line. And then Spirit had to say, here's a line. There's a line here. And you're like, oh gosh, I've let everyone cross that line then. So make sure you don't cross that line yourself now, because you've learned all of this behaviour from people that struggled with your energy. And I don't, just in case I'm tapping into somebody and they're like, you then use this to bolster up your ego, and sort of think, well, it's because I'm so good, I'm much better than them. I don't want to sort of introduce those ideas, because no one's better than anyone else. We're just different energy frequencies. Your energy's a violin, okay, and their energy's a drum. Your watercolours, they're acrylic paints, whatever you want to call it. If it helps you at the beginning of your healing to sort of do that binary stuff, it's fair enough. I don't want to like dismiss or undermine or minimize anyone's pain, because pain is pain. It's not about covering it up and pretending it's not painful. But I do think it's important for people to, when you can, to look at things. But I think you know what I mean. Just be balanced about the situation, because you don't want your ego to get so big, walking around, I'm the empress, I'm like prosperous and all of this, and then what will more than likely happen is the angels will pop that for you too. You know what I mean? Because that's not the idea either. Do you see what I mean? And you don't want to go down that road, and then you have to start again. Yeah, so you have a lot of warmth about you, and a lot of people find your energy quite intoxicating, and now this person wants to tell you how they feel. But I'm hearing for real this time. I really feel energetically, engagement ring and wedding, they don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. It's like on the tip of their tongue. Their heart's exploding with it now that you're the runner. Nothing what they chose is good enough. They need you. And maybe there was a time you felt like you needed them, like, especially if it's a divine connection, and it's shifted, okay? Yeah, and that's balance. And I was just saying balance. You do need balance, always. Paradise here. You found your own paradise. You realised it wasn't in these people, or this person. I think you found it was in the angels and the divine and your inner peace. Yeah. Anything else, please, Spirit? Please allow the messages to fly out in God's will to help the collective with their journey. That's a bit too many. Okay, so synchronicities come out again, and I did mention synchronicity. Coffee cup, that's a synchronicity. Ascending, that's another synchronicity. Okay, so thank you, Spirit, for those synchronicities. This person has big things on their mind, okay, but I'd be very surprised they don't come in asking for something small, like let's go for a coffee. okay? And it's because you're ascending, you're the runner, you found your empress status, you found your worth, you've stopped allowing weeds in your garden strangling your beautiful flowers. You're heading towards prosperity, whatever that looks like for you, but ultimately it's comfort, living in the moment, trusting. Does it mean you're trusting and peaceful every single moment, even when things don't go your way? But good for you if that's the case. But no, for the most part, it's a willingness and wanting, and you're able to do that more now. And for those of you that, I don't know, I'm feeling tempted to say, like, be careful, don't skip the steps where you're like, something's painful and you go, oh no, it's not, it's meant to be. Like, use that energy to some degree, but do it balanced, because it will only come back to bite you later. You do need to write it out, run, use that anger to make something, use it productively, and then let it go. Don't just skip the steps and like smother it over with angels and light, and like pretend it's not happening. I don't know why I've been called to say that. For most of you, I don't imagine you are doing that, but I have to go where I'm led. Yeah, so this person doesn't want, if they had like a party lifestyle, or they chose, sort of like the fast and high life, it's been taken away from them in some way. Yeah, because they feel abandoned and they don't want to be abandoned, and they can't feel you, they can't see you, you're elusive, you're obscure. It could be a soulmate since it is there, but I wouldn't be surprised if you are going to meet a soulmate who's a portal, like a good portal for you to learn and grow, who also wants to pursue wisdom and has exited the 3D matrix. Okay, yeah, so this person's having some big realizations, okay? Realizations cards here. Sometimes I stay awake thinking about you. So not only are they staying awake thinking about you, then they're dreaming of you. And they know that they made you feel like you were beneath them in some way. I think a lot of these energies know that they recognize that that's what they were trying to do. Even if it was just energetically, they were trying to balance their ego by diminishing you somehow. And you've clocked it. The penny dropped, and obviously you can't be around people that are doing that, because it ultimately means that they haven't got any empathy for you if they're playing those games. And you need empathy in relationship. And empathy isn't feeling sorry for somebody, it's having like a emotional safety and humanness. And if there's competitiveness, that will be lacking, even if they don't want it to be. It's coming through a lens that isn't going to be beneficial to you. Yeah, and I think you were sort of blinded to this because you're probably a seer of some kind. You can see their divine truth, and that's what you were constantly looking at. But you weren't looking at the costume and the prickly, sordid costume that they were wearing that was pricking you and hurting you, and possibly worse. And you do now. Messages for the collective, please, Spirit, in God's will. Tell me more about that. Yeah, they didn't think you had boundaries. Yeah, they thought that your love for them was bigger than yourself. And I think for some of you, maybe it was, okay? Maybe it was. Yeah, this person's trying to watch you, but I don't believe they can. But if you've got social media or something, they are. But for most of you, I don't think they can. Tell me more about that card, please, Spirit. Yeah. I think you might be encountering some of your fear, which, is normal. I'm going to take that, even though it's all a bit sticky. And some of your fear might be that you're not enough. You feel like, and what I wouldn't be surprised, because energetically you have people around you basically chanting that to you. And if you hear something chanted enough, that's brainwashing, and it eventually does seep in on some level. So you're healing this, and maybe there's some sort of resistance to feel that fear, but it isn't true, okay? what people feel about you, say about you, that's their understanding. Okay, it's you don't need them to validate you, understand you. Yeah, you might want them to, but need is a different thing. You don't need them to. And I think maybe that's the difference that you've recognized. Yeah, so you've made the healthy choices. Maybe you feel, maybe this feels like what you come out of feels like you just went through some like serious bad luck, like you were under like a bad luck spell or something like that. But I mean, hopefully not for most of you. I don't really feel that energy, I have to say. But obviously, always call on Archangel Michael to dissolve anything like that if you need to. You know, if you do suspect that. And it's best to sort of stay out of that energy. You know, ask Archangel Michael to sort it out and just let it be, rather than, you know, ruminating like, oh, maybe I'm under a spell, and, you know, all of that. All that does is just bring it to life. Yeah, it's a balancing act. I'm not going to say it's easy. Yeah, so you've let go of karmic relationships. I'm hearing you've retired from these relationships. And, you know, they were giving you crumbs, because there's bread on this card. And if it's not bread, it looks like bread. I think it's a biscuit, but you can see lots of crumbs in the background. Tell me more, please, Spirit, for the highest good of all, in God's will. Yeah, these people weren't very loving towards you. Maybe they gave you tiny bits, but not really. Not really. Yeah, you've lost faith in this and this. I think even it's going to be hard for this person, because I don't think you're really on that page at all. You might want to hear back from them, you know, want to hear from them, hear them out or something, some of you. Like you would have that coffee with them. But your energy's not there. Yeah, this person wants you. Yeah, so they're getting their life together. Okay. But they're not completely, they don't completely think they're to blame. So they might be in the energy where they're focusing on, in their eyes, where you went wrong. And, you know, that's normal. Most humans do this, you know, like they have to regulate themselves somehow. Very few people say everything was their fault. And, you know, it's good when they do, but it's not always. Yeah, so I feel like they think you caused them pain too, and you might have done, and that's why it was karmic. You were both triggering each other. You were both, you know, I feel like for the most part, who I'm tapping into today handled it the best they could in the kindest way they could, but maybe you weren't always, and they're holding on to that, you know, to stabilize themselves. And, you know, maybe Spirit's warning you that, you know, that when they come in, because you've got on that ship, offering to see you, it might not be a case of them sort of saying, you know, I did everything wrong. Okay, twin flames. Yeah, they see you as their muse. They're not blind anymore. And I see tether there. Just be concerned, because the wedding and stuff, when I feel that, like, it, I'm sure they do love you and they want to be with you for their life, but they also like the idea of you being tethered to them and you can never go away again. You know, you're not allowed to go on that ship. You'll need to tell them, you know, that kind of energy. And again, it's not what, it's what they're working with. You know, everyone is fallible, and perhaps some more than others, but yeah, this person's shattered. I think they're shattered that you wouldn't be that surprised, or wanting the surprise of them coming back. You know, like maybe there was a time that you would love for them to suggest these big things. Or if it's not, you know, you could be married or whatever, that wanting to do the right thing, you know, can't wait to hear, you know, that kind of information. Yeah, that one day. But you're not thinking one day anymore. You were. Thank you, Spirit. You're not waiting for one day. Twin flame or no twin flame, soulmate, no soulmate. Yeah. This person knows, if they didn't understand the connection before, because they were in that 3D matrix and they couldn't. That 3D matrix was so important. Your ancestors are making it known to them. They haven't got a choice. They haven't got a choice. Contacting you soon. It's up to you. Yeah, you're allowed to block this energy if you feel like it will destabilize you in some way. You know, like it's the worst idea in the world, them contacting you. Don't feel obliged. The angels look after you. Yeah, if you feel like it's going to bother your energy, your light, your high vibration, you don't have to do it. So I'm sure if you're an Empress, you would know this, but it does say hold on here. So, but you know, free will. Yeah, because I feel like this person, I don't believe they've had a full awakening. Yeah, but they are starting to recognize whatever behavior they had didn't denote true self-love. You know, like it's true self-love of the ego, maybe, but not like a spirit in a spiritual sense. Yes, so scales are being balanced, so that's why they have to come back, really. Yeah, you've got more energy now. You've said no to all these breadcrumbs and withholding or undermining or people chanting not enough underneath, like in their minds about you. Yeah, Spirit's asking you to relax today, so I don't know if you've had some things going on. Messages for the collective, please, Spirit and God's will. Yeah, it says they didn't deserve to be in your energy, and perhaps they're recognizing that, like they literally came into your house and kicked everything over energetically. Yeah, somebody like that doesn't deserve to be invited into someone's home. And they're sort of like, oh, I thought you liked me kicking everything over, and now you're gone, and you really have gone. Balloon, ship, everything, you're out. They're shattered, and realise that they shouldn't give you any romance whatsoever. And now they really want to come in stepping it up. But I do feel like there is an energy behind it. Although, yes, they recognise that they love you, there is also an energy of like, oh, I've got to stop her from ever getting away from me again. Like, this is torturous. So just be aware of that. Yeah, that pops out when I was shuffling before. This person has a very colourful appetite, as I'm sure you probably already know. I think that they're looking to address this, but okay. So we've got transformation here, but they would. In an ideal world, they would have you not a divine feminine, so they could have this. They could fuel their colourful appetites, and you know, not be accountable, responsible, but they know they can't have both. So just be careful about them coming in slowly. You're here, and then turning you here, so they can get what they want. Yeah, because they're shallow, and you've got depth. You're sort of your polar opposites, which if it's a twin flame, it very much is like that. Yeah, they don't want you to have boundaries. They know you've shed these people-pleasing skills, you not recognising you're the Empress, you know, your worth and things. But they are working from a shallower water than you. They could want children with you, or you have children with them, and I wouldn't be surprised if they had children on you. Yeah, they're into toxic fun. And that's what they ghosted you for. That's what they were keeping you on hold for. And it made their ego feel better. Yeah. But you know this illusion. They can't feed you any illusions. If that's up, it's gone. It's over. You've ascended. It's not possible. So you cut them out. You've detoxed from this energy. You've chosen nourishment. You only want loyalty now. Okay. Yeah, you're out of this emotional storm. It's no more. But they are coming back. But just be wary. Like wary. Wary. Maybe it'll make you wary. Be wary, okay? Because I keep being brought to this moon. They're still hiding things from you. But they're feeling torture. You know, they can't They think about you all the time. They're up at night, can't sleep. When they sleep, they're dreaming of you or things that remind them of you. They're having a hard time with they're probably going through the dark night of the soul. I wouldn't be surprised if you told them that they're going to go through that. And they were suppressing it, denying it, everything, but now your energy's gone and you're not holding the energetic frequency, so that they got to hold it all. And yeah, just be careful. Just be careful. Anyway, thank you for being here, Archangel Michael. Please protect myself. Please protect the collective. So mote it be.